All right, everyone, welcome to the Prez podcast. We're back doing another episode. It's been a little while, and I wanted to do one for the NBA playoffs. So we're going to do a round one NBA playoff predictions for the first round, all 8 matchups. Now that the play-ins are done, wanted to get this done. It's kind of hard with the NBA schedule. You know, the play-ins go in the day before game one, so trying to fit this video in. But today is a lot of the game ones are happening. We'll get this out. It really won't affect my predictions. But before we start on the first 8 first-round matchups, I wanted to talk about 2 topics I had discussed in a previous podcast. Zion Williamson and my concern overall for his health and him taking care of himself. And the report came out this week that the doctors had cleared him to play. So he had a chance to play in the play-in game and help his team make it in to the playoffs. Of course, as we all know, he did not play, and a report came out saying that he said even though he's healthy, he doesn't quite feel like himself, and he's not going to go out there unless he can be full Zion. Now, if I'm Brandon Ingram or CJ McCollum and I'm on the Pelicans and I'm hearing this from Zion, I'm hearing the doctors clearing him to play, and he's just deciding not to, now again, I don't know if this is a Zion decision or if this is a Team Zion decision or an agent decision or something the Pelicans aren't letting us know. Either way, the optics on it don't look very good, and I just don't understand what his career path is going forward. I'm not sure what the Pelicans want to do with him. Obviously, they saw with the full team they had this year that they have built a good roster, and when he plays, they were top of the West for a short period, and they could have been probably in the top 3 if he had played all season. That's how good of a player he can be, but again, part of your ability is your availability, and he hasn't been very available in this for a few years of his career. It's very sad to see. He's got to get it figured out. I don't think you can just sit around and collect money. NBA does have guaranteed contracts, but I'm just not sure who's going to pay you to sit on the bench. Next, another team I wanted to discuss before we get to the predictions was the Mavs. Now, there's a lot of discussion, obviously, with Luka leading the Mavs to the Western Conference Finals last year before losing to the Warriors and the eventual champs. That there was a lot of high hopes this year, and they had a decent start. Obviously, they made that trade for Christian Wood in the offseason. That didn't really pan out. He didn't get a lot of minutes, came up saying moving to the bench. And then they made the big deal for Kyrie, and that was hopefully to save their season. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But coming down to the last game of the season, they still had a chance to make the play-in. The Mavs decided we're not going to do that, and we're just going to sit everyone and basically forfeit the playoffs. A lot of people are up in arms on this. 1 game out of the playoffs, you have a chance to be in it. You have an all-world player, a top 5 player in Luka. Why wouldn't you want it? You made a run as a lower seed last year. Why did you want to get in the play-in and play in tournament and see what happens? Now, I understand that, but I also look at the Trailblazers, for example. They just packed it in 10 games earlier. You have an all-world player, or so the Blazers think, and Damian Lillard. Why not just keep trying and see if you can make the play-in tournament? Why is that okay, and why is it not okay for the Mavs to give them with 1 game? I think it's just because it's the game before the play-in, and I think maybe it's recency, success of the Mavs that they've had in the playoffs. Either way, I don't think we should worry too much. If they don't want to be in the playoffs, then I don't want them there anyways. So, let's not fine them. I think the fine is kind of superficial. What is $750K to Mark Cuban anyways? It's not really going to affect them too much going forward. But they do have some big issues as far as their roster. They're going to re-sign Kyrie, but 2 guys that don't play a lot of defense. You really, really need to add a lot of 3-and-D players and a bigger post presence as more centers having a bigger impact in the NBA lately. So you really got to turn that roster around and build around Luka if you want to keep him. I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years if things don't improve if he wants out, even with a great owner like Mark Cuban. All right, so that's it for those 2 topics. Now let's get in to our first round predictions. I'm going to go with the Eastern Conference first because, let's be honest, some of those first round matchups not super exciting. The play-in tournament was nice. Obviously the Rosen's daughter game with Chicago and Toronto was exciting, and the Heat beating the Hawks beating the Heat was exciting as well. But as far as these first round matchups, I don't really think it matters. Let's start with the Bucks. I just have the Bucks in 4. I know it's not very exciting, but I just think they're the best team in the Eastern Conference, maybe the best team in the NBA. And I just think they're going to take care of business easily and win that series in 4. Next up, the Celtics versus the Hawks, 2-7 matchup. And again, I think the Celtics sweep the Hawks. I don't know what the Hawks can do defensively to slow down the Celtics, and the Celtics are a really good defensive team, and I think they'll find an answer for anything Trae Young tries to do. So I think those would be easy series. And also, I'm going to go another sweep, and this one I think it's people are thinking maybe the Nets will do something. You got to remember that the Nets' record was ballooned up by when Kevin Durant was actually playing early in the season. The Nets had a really nice stretch down the, played some easy competition against teams that were wanting to get better to raise their draft stock and get higher picks. So it's not like they were winning against really competent teams. And when they did play high-level teams, they did not come close. Mikal Bridges is an amazing story. I just think Embiid takes care of business, and they have no way to stop him. So give me the 76ers in 4. Next up, the best Eastern Conference matchup. And this one, the Cavs and the Knicks. It's gonna be a good matchup, and especially with Julius Randle coming back, we're gonna see a lot of tight games. I think it goes 6. I think we're gonna have some exciting moments with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, especially down the stretch. We'll see how those guys can finish some of those games and the coaching adjustments. So I'm really gonna push this game to 6, but I think I have the Cavs getting it just because of home court, and I think Mitchell makes enough plays to move them on. So no upsets in the Eastern Conference, and that's all right. The next round, the semifinals, will be in the Eastern Conference will be much more exciting. A lot of good matchups there. All right, let's go to the Western Conference, and let's start with the 1 seed Nuggets. And we're going to talk about the 2-time reigning MVP Jokic. Now, last year his team was racked. Jamal Murray was out. Michael Porter Jr. didn't play a lot of the season. Well, everybody's back. Everybody's healthy, and they got the 1 seed. You've been the MVP for 2 years. You get the Wolves in the first round. You got to show up. And you got to make a deep run, Jokic. You got to back up those MVPs with some stellar play in these playoffs. I'm not a huge Jokic fan. I think he's a great stat filler. He does some amazing things on the basketball court, but he's a one-sided center, meaning I don't think he really affects the defensive side of the ball as a center, which is really unfortunate. If you're a center, you're that big, and you can get those many rebounds, you got to be able to at least protect the rim a little bit better than he does. He's just not a great defensive center. I'm not a fan of that. But if he's going to back up these triple doubles, all these numbers he's putting up, and his great MVP case, which he has again this year, he needs to make a deep run. They lost in the first round, I think, last year, and then 2 years ago, he just didn't make a good run either. So I really want to see Jokic make a run with the Nuggets. But that being said, against the Wolves, I think it's going to be tough. They've got some bigs they can throw in them, obviously with Gobert and Towns. Anthony Edwards is playing amazing right now. He really played good in the play-in games. I still take the Nuggets in 6, but I think the Wolves will steal a couple games. Next up, the 2-7 seed, and everybody's jumping on this Laker bandwagon, so it's the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. Now, I know the Lakers have had a really good turnaround after the trade deadline. We're getting rid of Russell Westbrook, adding some key players, and obviously the development of Austin Reeves. Getting Vanderbilt has helped them on defense, and Anthony Davis just being healthy. So you have LeBron James, but he's 38, and I know he just got the all-time scoring title, but he's 38. He can't. This isn't peak LeBron. This isn't 2012 LeBron. This is even 2018 LeBron. So he can still score, but you're going to need him to do a lot more. You only have 2 really key offensive players that can really control the offense in Davis and LeBron. It's going to be hard-pressed for them. The good thing for them, they're playing a team in the Grizzlies who is shorthanded on the front end. They don't have a lot of bodies they can throw at Anthony Davis. They only have Jaren Jackson Jr., no Steven Adams, no Brandon Clark. These are bodies that they wish they had in this series, and it's going to be really important for their shooting to be important. So this is going to be a 3-point shooting team, the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane, John Morant. They're going to have to shoot the ball really, really well. But I do think they do enough. I think they have enough offensive firepower. They're going to really make the series go long, and I think the Grizzlies actually win this one in 7. I don't think the Lakers can do it. Sorry, I'm not on that bandwagon. I think too little, too late. I think they put themselves in a hole, and they're going against a good Memphis team. Next up, a really exciting matchup. The Warriors versus the Kings. So good to see the Kings back in the playoffs for the first time since 2005. It's a long time to be without the playoffs. And an exciting team. I know the fans are going crazy. And De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are a great matchup. Obviously, the rookie Keegan Murray. They got some good shooting off the bench. And they're the best offense in the NBA through the regular season. Problem for them is they're going against the defending champs. I mean, you got the 3 seed. Not only did you make the playoffs, you got the 3 seed in the West. It's pretty exciting to be a Sacramento King fan right now. The only problem is you're going against, like I said, the defending champs, the 4-time champs in the last 8 years. It's unfortunate. And it's really unfortunate also that Wiggins is back. Now he's going to have to get up to speed, but also getting Gary Payton back too allows them a lot of defensive flexibility. And they've been a bad road team, actually. I think they had one of the worst road records. I think the worst road record of any playoff team. But I think also they have a lot of veteran leadership. They have guys that have been there before. They also have the best player in the series in Steph Curry. And with all those defensive bodies back, they're going to make things hard on the Kings. I think these games are going to be close. I think they're going to be high scoring. But I think the Warriors pull it out in 6. Last but not least, Suns against the Clippers. Now this could have been an amazing series, especially if Paul George was healthy, right? You got the Russell Westbrook versus KD matchup, Kawhi back in the playoffs. But since Kevin Durant's played for the Suns, they've gone 8-0. And Kevin Durant's record in the 47 games he's played is like 34-13. He's been phenomenal. And a lot of times he was just carrying those Nets teams. But now he's got help. He's got a great second option in Devin Booker. They have DeAndre Ayton. They still have Chris Paul, even though he's old, Chris Paul. They have a good team. And without Paul George, the Clippers just don't have enough weapons. So I think this will be the quickest series in the West. I get the Suns will take it in 5. I don't think it'll be that close. I think a lot of these games will blowouts, but I'll give the Clippers 1. I think I'll give them a 1 Kawhi game, maybe in LA, maybe game 3 when their really backs are against the wall. And it's unfortunate. I wish Paul George was healthy. You don't want to see any of these teams dealing with injuries. But I think it's going to be a very, very exciting first round. My plan for this is I'll do every round. We'll go deeper dives as we move along and get a little more stats, a little more information about these teams with the first round. We're going to get through it and get these predictions right through the way. And then if I'm going to give my overall prediction now for what I think in the finals, just to let you know, I think it's a rematch of 2 years ago. I think it's Bucks-Suns. And I'm going to take the best player in the world, Giannis, to win again and get a second title, second finals MVP. Let's say Bucks in 7. How about that? Not to be 6 like it was 2 years ago. So anyways, that would be my finals pick right now. But we'll see how the first couple rounds play out. Who knows, a lot can change. Remember last year Middleton got hurt, really affected their playoff chances when they lost to the Celtics at 7. So I really think the Bucks are the best team. Anyways, like I said, we're going to do round-by-round predictions. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Anything you want me to add. I also think next week maybe I'll do end-of-season awards. We'll go over my MVP picks, 6th Man of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff. Who I think should win Coach of the Year. Maybe even Executive of the Year. Maybe we'll go in that deep. Who knows? But anyways, thanks for watching. Keep this short. Have a great day and enjoy those NBA playoffs.